It's time for the whole 9 yards. Hello, everyone. I'm Ralph Ventre, fired up, ready to go for what should be a great Week 8 in Northeast Conference football. Wagner is on a bye. 3 Northeast Conference matchups dot the docket. Let's take a look at them all and some more, kicking it off with the opening drive. It's Rhode Island meets Connecticut in New Britain. Bryant visiting Central Connecticut. The Bulldogs looking for their first Northeast Conference victory, while the Blue Devils look to stay hot. Central Connecticut has won 4 games in a row for the first time since the 2010 season. The Blue Devils' defense has been extremely opportunistic during this recent surge. Central leads the league with 11 interceptions. They face a Bryant team on Saturday that has been intercepted a league-high 14 times. Another key factor during CCSU's win streak has been the Blue Devils' ability to run the football. Cameron Nash has rushed for over 100 yards in each of the past 4 games. Meanwhile, his teammate, Drew Jean-Guillaume, has scored 7 touchdowns during the Blue Devils' 4-game win streak. Bryant will look to slow Central down with linebacker Tom Costigan leading the way. Costigan, 9 tackles for a loss this season, 6 sacks. And the good news is the Bulldogs added some help in the linebacking core last week as Jesse Nemerowitz returned after missing the season's first 5 games due to injury. In his first game back, Nemerowitz totaled 16 tackles against the defending NEC champion St. Francis Red Flash. This week, it's Nemerowitz and the Bulldogs invading New Britain, Connecticut in a game that will air live on NEC Front Row. There are 2 NEC games in the Steel City this week. First, we go to Moon Township, where Robert Morris will host Sacred Heart, with both teams looking for their first Northeast Conference victory. Sacred Heart has won the last 4 in this series, dating back to the 2013 win in Moon Township, a victory that clinched the first of back-to-back Northeast Conference titles for Mark Nofri's Pioneers. The 2017 meeting could be decided depending upon which team takes better care of the football. The Pioneers and Colonials have struggled in recent weeks, and it doesn't come as a surprise that both have a negative turnover margin during that time. They'll look to get that right in an NEC Front Row exclusive this Saturday. One other battle to watch for within this game, the Robert Morris pass rush, which has 15 sacks, second most in the NEC, against the mobile passer that is Sacred Heart's Kevin Duke. Duke went for over 350 yards of total offense in the Week 7 loss to Dartmouth. Colonials, Pioneers, live from the Joe on Front Row. And finally, we go to Rooney Field on the Bluff in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's the site of the NEC's featured Game of the Week on ESPN3. It's the NEC preseason favorite Duquesne Dukes hosting the defending conference champion St. Francis Red Flash. The winner of this matchup has gone on to secure the NEC's automatic FCS playoffs bid in each of the past 2 seasons. Both teams enter the game at 2-0 in conference play, and a key reason for their fast starts has been the success of the passing game. Duquesne quarterback Tommy Stewart leads the league in completion percentage and touchdown passes. Meanwhile, St. Francis signal caller Bear Fenimore ranks second to Stewart in both of those categories. The Dukes and the Flash also feature primetime receivers. Duquesne Jr. Nahari Crawford leads the FCS with 10 receiving touchdowns this season, while Cameron Lewis, an All-American for St. Francis last season, well, he has 49 catches through 6 games this year. That's the 6th most in the football championship subdivision. Now, while Duquesne boasts the NEC's top-ranked passing attack in terms of efficiency, St. Francis features the conference's top pass defense. The Red Flash have allowed only 3 passing touchdowns this season. Meanwhile, Duquesne has thrown for 15. Something has got to give, and you can see it all unfold live on ESPN3, 12 noon Eastern Time. Paul Dottino, Kevin Gilbride, and John Schmelk live from the Bluff. It's time for a quick look at the NEC stock market. Let's take a look at whose value is on the way up. Sacred Heart senior receiver Byron Barney has made at least 3 catches in every game this season, and it appears that he's only getting better as time goes on. He's eclipsed the 90-yard mark in each of his past 3 games. Meanwhile, he scored a touchdown the last 2 weeks. In the Week 7 setback to Dartmouth, Barney made a season-high 10 receptions, 93 yards, and a touchdown. There wasn't much preseason hype about Byron Barney, but this man is proving that he can play. Byron Barney's stock is on the way up. About halfway through the show, it's the perfect time for a Twitter timeout. This week's tweet comes from Craig Haley, the senior FCS editor for Stats Inc., and Craig points out the importance of this week's game between Duquesne and St. Francis, a game that was featured by Athlon Sports as one of the top matchups throughout the nation in Week 8. And quite frankly, it's easy to see why. The proximity between these two schools, the rivalry, and you add that to the importance that this game has in the race for the NEC title, and you get a must-see matchup on ESPN3. Hut, for two, hut, Omaha, Omaha. It's time for the NEC Audible. I mentioned earlier in the show that Bryant has been intercepted a league-high 14 times this season, and first-year head coach James Perry recognizes that he needs more efficiency out of the passing attack.
Then we just absolutely have to play better when it comes to how efficiently we pass the ball. And we're capable of it. You know, we've done a good job at times throughout the year, and we're more than capable of doing a good job there. And then, you know, on defense, if we can continue to get better as far as taking away some big plays, which have kind of, hurt us at times that way too, and we're capable of that as well.
And as for facing the red-hot Blue Devils this week, Perry knows his group is in for a challenge.
They're coming together as a program, and the easiest way to see that is how well they get to the ball. I mean, when a guy is tackled on film, there are 5, 6, 7 guys around him. They're very energetic defense. They can move from 3 down to 4 down front very easily, which I'm sure has over time smoothed itself out when they're kind of playing in 2 different fronts defensively. And then, Pete's a terrific coach. I mean, he's always had good offenses. He's always had good offensive lines, and he does that again this year. So that'll be a great challenge. I think that's a source of strength that they have.
That's amazing. Well, what amazes me this week, you ask? That would be the Central Connecticut defense. I call them the Big Play Blue Devils. One common theme between each of their past 4 victories? Well, the Blue Devils have returned an interception for a touchdown in every one of those 4 wins. Then you factor in Tymir Hinton's fumble return for a touchdown in Week 2, and the Blue Devils lead the FCS with 5 defensive TDs this season. 4 wins in a row for the first time since 2010, 4 straight games with a pick 6, and a nation-leading 5 defensive touchdowns. Stats amazing. And that just about does it for the Week 8 show. Wagner's on the bye. The other 6 Northeast Conference teams are in action. 2 games on NEC Front Row. Duquesne and St. Francis, the featured game of the week on ESPN3. Now go forth and enjoy yourself some Northeast Conference football. Thanks for watching the whole 9 yards. I'm Ralph Ventre for NEC Front Row. I will see you again next week.